Caution! The AJ and Quill show contains D&D content and is intended for a D&D audience. And, besides that, they're really weird. Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's episode of Critical Solo, where one nerdy-ass voice actor and his multiple personalities get to play some Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah!
Okay. And without further ado, let's get on to tonight's episode of Critical Solo. When last we left our heroes, they were enjoying a night of good food and entertainment at the Elfsong Tavern, when suddenly the very foundations of the tavern began to shake as a ginormagantuan crystalline vine erupted from the earth a few blocks away. And welcome back. Well, let's switch into battle mode, because it's coming up. Now, we all remember where we left off. So, what are you all going to do? You're still inside the Elfsong Tavern.
Well, Copernicus and I believe the others are all going to go outside the tavern and see what's what.
Agreement. I concur. Let's all go outside.
Alright, as you all run outside the tavern, describe to me what you want to be doing.
Well, as Xaryxis runs outside, he's going to be looking for his trusted mount, Trebek.
Alright, if you're the first outside, Trebek is exactly where you left him, your flying space pig. He's just outside the tavern door. He's a little bit shaken up. The earth is rumbling and people are screaming all over the place. Buildings are crumbling and all you hear is the grinding of stone and granite and explosions, and you're starting to smell smoke as fires are starting to rage all over the place. And through the ground, even in your own vicinity, you're starting to see those same kind of crystalline vines erupting through the cobblestone. They're not nearly as big as the one or the two off in the distance, but they're just everywhere.
Well, Xaryxis heads over to his trusted steed. Easy there, boy, easy. We'll get through this. And I mount Trebek.
Alright, as you do, your mount, through the mystical paladin innate connection that you have, automatically begins to calm down. Just your presence and you being near him and being together just makes it so that he's no longer afraid. He's not really worried. He knows that together you're a much better team.
Yes, well, Copernicus also heads outside, and I begin to look around and see what's going on. What's in the immediate vicinity here?
Well, alright, as you're all kind of running outside, let's just say you're doing it together, you're not the only ones. Other patrons are starting to run out. Even Alan Aelith is leaving his beloved Elfsong Tavern, and they're all kind of scattering. And as the crowd's beginning to come out, and you're all kind of hovering around the door, people are going left and right, and you see that same female captain or sailor that had talked to you right before this had happened. She's at the edge of the street, and she's bolting for the docks. DM? Yeah. Remind me again, what did that female sailor lady say to us? Oh, she was the one who stood up when all this kind of started happening and said that she was getting out of here, she's heading for her ship, but you were welcome to join her. Okay, awesome, thanks. Now, can we catch up to her? Is she just too far, or what's going on? Well, you see the captain, she's at the end of the street. You could probably catch up to her if you started running, but keep in mind she's also running too, and there's kind of a lot going on right around.
Oh, yes. Copernicus would like to check a look around and see what's going on with all the destruction and the people and then...
Well, as you look around your immediate vicinity, you start to see more miniature eruptions as vines are bursting through the cobblestones. And as these kind of smaller crystalline vines do that, they begin to kind of take on their own almost humanoid form. They're beginning to move on their own, and they're uprooting themselves, and they start lurching and moving towards you or anybody else basically around them. People are fleeing, and there's some of the local militia, the Flaming Fist. They're battling some of these, and then other people are running, and other people trying to fight, and it's chaos absolutely around you everywhere.
Well then, is there any of those kind of zombie vine things in the immediate vicinity that we can see?
Absolutely. And with that, I'd like you all to roll initiative.
Yeah!
Okay, so what did you get? 15 to 20?
17 for Jebediah.
That is a 15.
15 for
Okay.
Proteus.
Nice. Ford got an 8. 8 for you, Ford. Gotcha. Under 5?
And Copernicus got a 4.
Perfect. Nice slow hippo. Okay, and they rolled 11. All right. So, as you look around you, you can see the street and these things over here. These are kind of those astral blight plants that are kind of crystalline and they're beginning to move around. So with that, it's combat. These things are clearly lurching towards you. They don't move very fast. They in fact, they seem kind of like jerky and slow, like almost like vines that are tumbling over themselves to try to get at you. They kind of have a vaguely humanoid shape-ish, but not really, and they're not really making any noise. You kind of hear like a small grinding of crystals as they move, and that's about it. Okay, so the start of combat, Jebediah, you're first. What would you like to do?
Well, first off, I'm mounted on Trebek, yes?
Yes, you're mounted on Trebek.
Alright then. Let's see. He can move 40 feet and fly 40 feet. So how close can I get to any of these creatures?
Well, let's see. You can get about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You can get to right about here.
Alright then, I shall do so, and then I will cast Armor of Agathis on myself and Trebek.
That's right, because paladins, when they cast spells, also affect their own mounts because of their connection. Cool. Do you want to use your bonus action or anything else?
Yes, I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Spiritual Weapon.
All right, spiritual weapon. Sure. Where do you want to put it? The range is 60 feet. It can go anywhere here.
Alright then.
All right. Roll your attack and your damage.
That is a 13, so a dirty 20 to hit.
All right, dirty 20 and...
6 damage.
Okay, 6 damage. All right, next we have Proteus. What are you going to do?
Response. Proteus will get as close to the creatures as he can using his movement.
All right, well, using your monkly speedy movement, which is, let's see, that'd be 40 feet, you can get about... You can get here to just behind Jebediah.
Alright, then I will do so and use my action to attack with a dart.
All right, the normal range on a dart is 20 feet. You're 1, 2, 3... You're 25 feet away, so both of these attacks will be with disadvantage from where you're currently standing.
That is alright. I shall attack with disadvantage.
All right, roll your attacks.
First would be a natural 1. The next would have been a natural 20, but then it rolled a 14.
All right, so the natural 1 is a miss, but the 14 actually hits, so roll your damage.
That is 5 damage to the same one Jebediah hit.
Next is the creatures. So you see them all begin to move. You hear like the crackling of crystal and grinding, and they kind of slowly flop over themselves and lumber towards you like a tangle of vines. And they all move 10 feet, because that's their movement, advancing towards you two, Proteus and Jebediah. So this one moves here. This one moves here. This one moves here. And these 3 move here. All right, so the only one that can attack is this one here, and they're going to attack Jebediah.
All right then.
Let's see. It's going to use its multi-attack to attack you twice using its heat-draining vine ability. First one rolls a 6, and the next is rolls a 17 to hit.
Both miss. His AC is 20.
All right, good armor class. All right, well, that's all they can do for their turn. Next is Ford, what do you want to do? Well, the first thing Ford's going to do is summon his Tentacle of the Deep using his bonus action. And that can be placed anywhere within 60 feet of myself, so 1, 2. So I'm going to place it right here. And much like the spiritual weapon, it's going to attack. Alright then, roll your attack. This is a 16 plus 7 is 23 to hit with the tentacle. And that's a hit. Roll your damage. That is a 6 cold damage to this one. Okay, so can you describe your tentacle and how it attacks? Yeah, the tentacle looks like a giant watery snake, like a water weird, kind of like a giant watery anaconda that strikes out and bites. Alright, well as it does so, it lashes out at the astral blight in front of it, snapping forth with its watery, icy fangs. But as it hits, the cold damage doesn't seem to do as much as you would expect it to. Alright, then with my action, I'm going to get as close as I can, and then if I can't reach any of them, I'll cast Eldritch Blast. Alright, well your speed is 30 feet, so you can get 10, 15, 20. You can get to about here. Alright then I will attack with Eldritch Blast, the same one that my tentacle attacked. Okay, roll your attack. That is a 7, so 14 to hit. That's a hit, no problem. Roll your damage with your Eldritch Blast. That's a 9. Okay, 9, no problem. And then next is Copernicus. Your turn.
Well, Copernicus is going to move over until he gets a clear line of sight to one of the creatures that was just attacked by his companions, and then he shall unload hell with his musket.
Alright, your speed is 30 feet, so that means you can get 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to about here if you want a full view of what's going on.
That's perfect.
Alright, then make your attack.
Alright, Copernicus is going to make 2 attacks against the very first one that Jebediah hit, and he's going to use his sharp shooter feat when doing so.
Alright, so you take a -5, and you can add +10 to the damage. Roll your attacks.
The first with the musket is a 12 to hit.
Alright, a 12 just hits. But since you're doing sharpshooter, you take a -5 on that, so the 12 misses.
Alright, then for the second attack, I've rolled an 18, -5 is a 13.
Well, that does hit. The 13 will hit this creature. Roll your damage.
With the musket, that is a big 1 that he rolled, and that shall be a 3 damage.
Alright, and plus your 10, that'll be 13 damage. Alright, so 13 to the very first one, this top one here?
Yes, the top one.
Alright, so this one here in front of you, it's hurting. It's looking pretty bad. The vines are starting to crumble a little bit and dislodge, and all the pieces of earth that were trapped in between the different crystalline vines are starting to fall out, and it's looking shambly. And with that, it's the top of the turn. Back to Jebediah.
Alright then. Well, the first thing Jebediah's going to do is take his bonus action and attack with spiritual weapons. He's going to move it forward and then attack the exact same one.
Alright, so it moves to here. And then make your attack.
Well, that's a 15, so 22 to hit with a spiritual weapon. That's a 7, so 11 damage.
Alright, and I just remembered your spiritual weapon does radiant damage, doesn't it? Okay, so as the mystical glowing axe attacks this creature and slices into it, it hits, but it also doesn't do nearly as much damage as you would expect it to, at least not what you're used to it doing.
Well, isn't that a pickle? All the same, After I hit it, I'm going to attack it using my lance.
Alright, your lance, which also has a reach of 10 feet. Go ahead and attack.
Well, the first roll was a 9 to hit, and then the second was a 26. So I think just one hit.
That's right, the 9 did not hit, so roll your damage for the second hit.
Well, that's a 4 plus the 6. That's 10 damage.
10 damage? Okay. And with that, the one vine in front of you crumbles, and it just kind of like doesn't really dissolve, but it breaks apart, and it's a pile in the ground now. And Proteus, your turn.
Proteus will use his movement to go to this astral blight at the bottom of the screen. And I will use my action to attack twice, and then Flurry of Blows.
Alright, full monkey stuff. I love it. Roll your attacks.
The first 2 attacks will be with his spear, using it two-handed, and then the second Flurry of Blows will be unarmed strikes, of course. So for the spear attacks, a 23 to hit, and a 13 plus 7 is 20 to hit. And then for the unarmed attacks, there's a 12 to hit, and a 16 plus 7 is 23 to hit.
Alright, all 4 of those hit. Your plasmoid monk comes in wielding his spear, and whoa, just a nice slash and a stab into this astral blight. And as it does so, it comes around with the elbow and then up with the knee. Roll your damage.
So with the spear, the first attack was an 8, the second was a 7 for damage. And with the unarmed strike, it was a 8 and a 6.
Okay, so all together that is 29 damage. And as you come in doing that massive monkey kind of awesomeness, the astral blight just crumbles in front of you. And that finishes your turn. So next is the astral blights. They're all going, the ones that are alive are going to advance 10 more feet towards you and try to attack. So this one moves here. This one moves here. And then this one here. And then this one here. Okay, now only 2 of these are going to be within range, so this first one here is going to attack you, Jebediah.
Well, all right then.
And it's going to use its multi-attack to hit you twice with its heat-draining vine attack. Let's see. So the first is a 20 to hit.
Hit.
Okay, and then the second is a 10 to hit.
Miss.
Okay, so just 1 hit. So that is 6 damage to you, and it also is grappling you now.
Well, all right then. Well, as the creature strikes Jebediah, it also takes damage from his Armor of Agathis, 10 cold damage.
That's right, you had Armor of Agathis. Alright, so it takes the cold damage, but again, kind of like what happened with the tentacle, the cold damage doesn't really seem to be affecting it as much as you thought it would.
Well, all right then.
But this thing is on its last legs. It doesn't look like it's doing very well. It's already starting to brittle and kind of break apart. And then this one over here cannot reach. Nope, this can. Nope, they can't. Never mind. And I thought that these could attack, but they can't actually attack your tentacle of the deep. So that's it for their whole turn. Next is Ford, your turn. Well, alright then. Well, Ford is going to move his tentacle of the deep and attack the one closest here on the left. Alright, you move it. Roll your attack. Well, that's a natural 20 to hit with the tentacle of the deep. Alright, natural 20. Roll your damage for your tentacle. That is a 7 doubled to 14 plus 4 is 18 damage. Alright, well you're snake-like tentacle slithers and advances towards this as of yet undamaged astral blight and lashes out and just manages to catch the thing in the best possible spot, sinking in its freezing fangs into this creature. Again, it doesn't do as much damage as you think, but because it was a critical, it still did quite a bit of damage. And what would you like to do for your action? Alright, for Ford's action, he's going to move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to here. And he's going to make 2 greatsword attacks against the same one that his tentacle attacked. Alright, sounds good. Roll your attack. Now he only gets 1 attack with his greatsword, and that is a 12 to hit. Alright, a 12 just hits. Roll your damage. Alright, that is a 6 and a 2 plus 5. That is 13 damage to that same one. Alright, 13 damage. It's hurting, but it's not done yet. And that ends your turn. So, Copernicus, you're up.
Well, Copernicus is going to do the exact same thing, only he's going to do 1 strike, or 1 musket attack against the one next to Jebediah here, and then 1 to the one straight ahead, not the one Ford is engaging, but the one on his left side between Ford and Proteus.
Alright, so 1 and 1. Okay, make your 2 attack rolls.
Well, first is a 12 to hit, which he's also using his sharpshooter still, so that won't hit. And then the next was a 19 plus 7, 26 minus 21 to hit with the second musket strike.
Alright, well, the second one was against that undamaged one between Proteus and Ford. That hits. The first one, you're right, did not hit. So roll your damage for the second one.
Oh, that is a natural 12 on the damage dice, so 12 plus 2 is going to be 14 damage.
Alright, big 14 damage. Love it. That's awesome. You line up your musket, which has that the hanging lantern on the end of it, and you take aim, you take a breath, and as you exhale, you can hear your own heartbeat, and as you pull the trigger between heartbeats, and you just hit this thing straight through what would essentially be its face, but it's a plant, doesn't really have a head or a face, but still that kind of head area just blows apart as it takes the big 14 damage. Awesome. Do you want to do anything else with your bonus action, or are you going to move?
No, I think I'm quite happy here. Copernicus is going to stay right where he is.
Alright. So, start of the new round.